Welcome to this series of training videos, Compliments of District 84. Member success in Pathways requires Basecamp managers who can provide navigational support to members, track their progress, assist members in scheduling project assignments, and celebrate accomplishments. Today, our presenter, Distinguished Toastmaster Vickie Goodman, and District 84 Pathways Chair will help Basecamp managers utilize the tools that will ensure your membership enjoy a rewarding experience as they progress through Pathways. This session was presented at the District 84 Virtual Toastmasters Leadership Institute on August 1, 2020.
We have lots of information to cover today, but I want everybody to just sit back, relax, and take in as much information as you can. I will be giving you several gifts in the form of handouts along the way to make it easier for you and to make your job easier when you go back to your club. I'm starting with the first little gift. This is handout number 1. It's an opportunity for you to practice grabbing these documents from the chat room and downloading for your future use. There's nothing worse than being part of a conversation and not understanding what they're talking about. So this little Basecamp glossary might help. You know, we're very bad as Toastmasters about using a lot of acronyms and we don't always explain them. So just keep this as a resource. Sunil is uploading it to the chat room, and I think it might be especially helpful for you to use with newer members. So here we are, Basecamp managers. What the heck are you supposed to do? We're supposed to approve that progress, approve level and path completions as they go along. That's the first and foremost responsibility that we have. In some cases, a member can't go on to the next assignment without your approval. So failure to do this timely can hold up their educational progress. Approval is also the way members get credit for work they have completed. The second area of responsibility is to approve external training requests. Now, it's perfectly fine for a member to provide a speech or a project outside of the Toastmaster environment, but they're supposed to notify the Vice President of Education that they plan to do that. And finally, the third responsibility, which primarily falls to the VPE, is to check on member progress in your club. What paths have been started? What levels are members working on? I'm going to cover how we're going to accomplish those primary responsibilities, but I want to go beyond those with a few ideas that I think will make life easier. Here's our agenda for today's session with 6 objectives. I hope to meet all of them by the end of the session. We're going to quickly go down the 3 that I mentioned, which is 3, 4, and 5. But I want to hit number 1 and 2, which is centralizing your email contact and basic navigation tips. Because as we stated, a primary responsibility of Basecamp Manager is to approve member progress through the Pathways program. When a member completes a level or a path, TI sends out a notice to the club contact so that the work can be approved. But who's the club contact? After all, there are 3 Basecamp managers. Who gets the notice? The thing is, there are 3 managers by design to ensure that a member's progress is not held up because the VPE is unavailable to approve their progress. Maybe she's gone on a cruise. Well, not today, but you know, something could happen. We may be able to travel in the future. We need to work as a team. So there's an easy fix to make sure managers are working as a team. We're going to start by going to the Toastmasters International homepage. I hope everybody recognizes this page because it's the one you see when you log in. Let's select the Leadership Central tab. All of the officers need to be familiar with this tab because you are going to use it to conduct all sorts of business. Leadership Central tab. We're going to select the tab and a drop-down menu will appear. You see the gray box? From here, we're going to select Club Central. This is where all of the essential information about your club is stored. It's only accessible to the club officers and only to club officers. and it is critical that the information be reviewed and updated periodically to make sure that it's correct. Let's select the Club Contact and Meeting Information tab, and it's here that you input the primary email contact for your club. There are two easy ways to create a single email address that is forwarded to multiple individuals, as in the Basecamp managers. Typically, this may just be the president's email address, and that's a good one as long as your president is responsive, but we want to make sure that all three Basecamp managers get it. The first you can do is to establish a Gmail account for this specific purpose. Use the forwarding and filter options that are available in Gmail, and you can essentially make it so that all emails that come in from basecamp@toastmasters.org are forwarded to the individual emails for the president, vice president of education, and the secretary, because those are the Basecamp managers. Hopefully everybody here as a Basecamp manager is one of those three positions: president, vice president, education, and secretary. An alternate would be to use the Contact Us email offered in the club websites. This is an email that's used when people contact your club to find out more information. If you don't already have a club website, you can get information at Free Toast Host through TLI. But most of us have a club website available. I'm going to quickly go into it. It looks something like this. This is a club website hosted on Free Toast Host. You have the option there to do a lot of club business. You can have members sign up for meeting roles, you can print agendas, you can send group emails, and so forth. It's updated and maintained typically by a website administrator who is usually the VPPR, but usually several officers have access for various club business reasons. This is a Contact Us email, which can include one or more persons. This is a great email to set up for Basecamp managers. This still requires communication between the officers about how they want to manage those emails and coordinate their efforts, but it ensures someone will see the message and respond. So by keeping this website updated with current officers and individual email addresses, the generic email address in Club Central can be used from year to year. Again, just setting up a common email address so that all of the Basecamp managers get that notice from TI when it comes through. Let's move on to some basic navigation information. Although you probably know how to access Basecamp, let's review the process for accessing as a Basecamp manager. There are two access points, and I'm going to start with what appears to be the obvious choice. Once you've logged into the TI website, you simply select the Pathways tab. A drop-down menu will appear, and you select Go to Basecamp. That's fairly intuitive so far, and it should look familiar because it's exactly the same way we access our personal Pathways learning experience. Once you click on that, three blue boxes will appear. Choose your path, Access My Path, and the Navigator. Those are the three boxes that appear. If you belong to one club, it's pretty straightforward. But if you are like me and belong to more than one club, you should make sure you select the name of the club you want to work in. This is where Basecamp managers will also see a difference. In addition to seeing the Go to Basecamp button, there is also a Login as Basecamp Manager button. Now, this is only going to appear on those clubs for which you are indeed a Basecamp manager. If you're an officer in more than one club, but you are not a Basecamp manager in a club, this option will not appear. So you can select the option, and you're off to the races. But wait, there's a faster and easier way to access Basecamp. Remember the TI homepage? When you officially log in, you will see a welcome message at the top in yellow. Double-click on that welcome message, and your personal profile page opens up. There's lots of good information on this page, and you should really explore it if you haven't already done so. But let's focus on the very top. We see the same 3 path selection boxes that we had in the earlier process, but they're just in a different order. The Choose a Path box is now in the center. The Navigator resource is still on the right, and on the left is the box we are interested in for this particular session, because it will take us to Basecamp. Make sure of your club selection, just as we did previously, and if you were just accessing your own learning path, you could simply press Go, or better yet, simply access your learning material from the window under the Pathways logo. This is the easiest way to get to the Pathways transcript. But we're going to log into the Basecamp Manager, so we need to check that box, and then we will click the Go button. And then we arrive. Either way you log in, whether you use the tab, the Pathways tab, or the personal profile page, you will end up on this screen with 3 blue boxes. I'm going to refer to this as the Basecamp Manager home screen. Before moving forward, though, I want to help avoid some future frustration. If you ever find yourself lost or you can't figure out what to do next, you can always click on the Pathways logo at the top left, and it will take you back to this screen right here. Please notice also this navigational bar at the top, in the top blue. It looks very straightforward. Seems as if you were to click on it, you should get to make a selection. But you don't know how many times I have selected those little white letters on the blue icons and it hasn't worked. Because what happens is there is a gray drop-down box, and that is where you click the selection. I also want you, so you can't select the blue, you have to select on the gray. I also want you to notice at the far right of the page where you will see a very tiny little gear icon. This is an important navigational tool because when you click on it, you will be given the option to log out, because Pathways is provided on a separate platform from the TI website. You have to log out of Pathways in order to go back to Toastmasters International home page. So let's take a closer look at the Basecamp Manager options. The first option I want you to look at is this Basecamp Manager tutorial selection. This option provides a wealth of information for Basecamp managers. Everything we're going to cover today is presented in these tutorials, so it's available to you at your own leisure. Selecting that tab will open up this subdirectory screen, which will allow you to hone in on the information you're looking for, whether it's level completion, how am I supposed to do that again, or how do I track progress. You can find that information here, and clicking on any of these particular blue icons or subdirectories will provide access to multiple video tutorials. They're all short, usually a couple 2 to 5 minutes. These are tremendous resources and are available to you at all times. So after this class, you don't have to worry about remembering every little detail, because you can fall back on these support videos to remind you of what you need to know. Let's go on now to those 3 basic things that you're going to be doing as a Basecamp manager. When you receive email notification that a member has completed a level or a path, one of the Basecamp managers should log in as soon as possible to go to the Basecamp Manager home page. Once there, simply select the Pending Requests button. So you've received a notice, hey, somebody sent in a request that you approve their level 2 completion. You go and you log into Pending Requests. This will bring the Pending Request report up, which shows who is awaiting approval, and you can see as you read across the page which level they have completed. And at the very far right, you're going to see a green check and a red X. If you plan to approve, you're going to select the green check. To deny, you would click on the red X, but in my experience, this rarely happens. So now this is usually where someone wants to know, why would you deny a request? Well, you might deny a request because it's a mistake. a member got confused when they go through their project, they finalize their path before they actually gave their speeches, or perhaps a member just completed the level last week, and this week they're requesting approval for another level. You should have some questions about how they managed to do this in such a short time, especially if they haven't been giving speeches at your club and you're unaware of any external speaking ops. The easiest way to resolve these questions, though, is to have a discussion with the member to see what's going on. This doesn't mean you have to do the approval or the denial right now, but if you have questions, talk to the member first. Once you've approved or rejected the request, this screen will pop up. You should always type your name and position in the box, along with any comments you wish to make. Then be sure to select the Submit button. It's not done till you submit it. The submission provides a record of completion in the Pathways platform. But what it does not do is it does not update the member's profile in the TI website. The Pathways platform, although linked to the TI website, is a separate operating platform, and currently they do not always speak directly to one another. I think this is going to be remedied over the next year, but right now we have to deal with it. So to be sure the member gets proper credit requires a second step, and you must log out of Pathways using that little gear icon I mentioned earlier, so you can go back to the TI home page to record the member award. You have to go back to Club Central on the TI website. Once there, again, you're going to select the Leadership tab, and you're going to select Club Central. And when you're in Club Central, you're going to select the Submit Educational Awards tab. This is exactly the same process we use for submitting manual completion with the Legacy program if you happen to work in that prior to being a Basecamp manager. Selecting the drop-down arrow will open the list of member names. You select the name of the member who completed the award, and then a name. Once the name is selected, you're going to enter the educational program to be awarded. Once more, you're going to select that drop-down arrow. The list of awards is going to pop up, and you're going to select the specific path level completed. Of course, always be sure to save or submit the information once you've made your choices. Your member has now received credit for their hard work and dedication. Those various little letters will follow their name in the Toastmasters International website. Whoopee! Did you hear what I said? A member has completed a goal. We need to do something. In Toastmasters, in life, every good deed deserves a reward, and in Toastmasters, every completed level deserves a certificate. It's a great idea to celebrate the member accomplishment publicly by presenting an award in person, but you can even do this virtually. It gives the member a sense of pride and accomplishment and encourages other members to do the same. So let's see how to access and print the certificates. Whoa, I heard somebody. I know, wait a minute. The member sent you an email. They're asking you to approve a project, and you're supposed to print and award a certificate? How do you even know the member actually did the work? Isn't there more to completing a project than giving speeches? How are you as a Basecamp manager supposed to know if they fulfilled those other requirements, like serving in meeting roles? You can't just take their word for it, can you? Well, I always operate with this caveat in mind. Toastmasters is a self-directed program that members enter voluntarily and pursue at their own personal rate. The purpose is self-improvement. If someone wants to pay the money to join and then bypass the work in order to claim the certificate, I'm not sure there's much we can do about it. There are no Toastmaster police that I'm aware of. No one's standing in the wings waiting to catch someone who violates the basic code of conduct. But who are they really hurting? The loser in that scenario is the member. We do our best to verify project completion before printing a certificate, But we should approach all our members with honesty and integrity, and we expect the same in return. So let's find out what we can do to just check on the progress and the work that they have completed. You should know which meeting roles a member is required to fulfill before completing a level or a path. Do you know that there are 3 roles required of every member before they complete level 3 in every path? But the other 3 meeting roles are Table Topics Master, Toastmaster, and Evaluator. And it explains a bit more about the inclusion of meeting roles in completing Pathways projects. There are 3 meeting roles, as we've already described, and though your job is to make sure they have fulfilled those roles before they move on to level 4. So if you're asked to approve a level 3, you need to make sure they have done that. Some paths require members to fulfill other roles, but this handout also explains how the member can track their meeting roles in Basecamp so that you as the VPE or the Basecamp manager can easily view these completed roles prior to approving those levels. Members can enter only one date or one meeting role at a time, so it's important they keep it current. So for example, a vice president of education is asked to approve a level 3 completion. They go in, they check the member profile, they see the roles have been completed, so they approve level 3. Later down the line, the member is requesting approval for another level 3 in a different path. But when the VPE checks this, the dates are the same ones as previously entered. They're old dates. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to talk to the member, tell them to update with the more current dates, or maybe you're going to check agendas that you have saved. It's a really easy thing if you save your agendas electronically. You can go back, or the member can go back and approve those. This is, again, just a worksheet for your members to do. So once you've logged in as the Basecamp manager, you can check any member's individual profile to review the meeting roles they filled out, as well as any other information. You do this by going to the top right of the page. There, next to that small gear icon, there's a search field. You're going to begin typing in a member name, and as you type the names, matching that letters will pop up, and you can just select the correct name and click enter. You'll be taken to the member's Basecamp profile page. You can scroll down that page and you will be able to find the various meeting roles and dates they were filled. You can see that on the right side of the page. You can also compare the dates to club meeting agendas if you have them available electronically. Once you've looked over the meeting roles, you can select the Path and Learning tab at the top of the page. Now, remember, you're just exploring the member's Basecamp profile. This is going to take you to the individual member transcript. Again, this should look kind of familiar because it's the same as your transcript looks. The member, you can see what path, what level or what path the member is working on, and you're going to select Open Curriculum. Looking at the top left here, you can see that this member has completed 67% of the path. Underneath that are underneath that percentages, you're going to find the levels that they have completed. All the levels are listed, and those that are completed have a check mark. We see the member has completed up through level 4. So moving to the right side of the screen, you're going to locate the level for which the member is seeking approval, and in this case, it's level 4. So you may look at more details of the project by selecting that particular detail page. The details provide the required project names within the level. If you want more information about the specific tasks within each project, so I think, did they do this and did they do that, then you can select the View Details tab at the right. When you're finally assured the member's progress or you're confident they've done those things that they've said, then you can select View Certificate. The certificate will appear in a separate pop-up window. You select the print icon and print to present to the member in person, or download it and save the file for your next Zoom meeting when you can present it to the member by sharing the file on the screen. Of course, you can always email it or send it in, print it on nice heavy paper and send it to them in the mail after the meeting. When a member actually requests approval for completing an entire path, they cannot move on until you approve this path. So it's critical that you go in quickly when they've asked for a path completion approval. Again, you're going to open the curriculum for the completed path, and you will notice that 100% is displayed at the top left, and the path completion level is checked off at the bottom. This must be completed by the member for the path to register as complete. There's no actual task, but the member must open it and close it. It's on their particular transcript. So if a member says, I don't know, I've done everything, but I can't get to it to say it's completed, that could be the problem. As you did previously, you can select View Certificate tab, and the members will be able to receive a certificate of proficiency versus a certificate of completion. Again, you can print and present or present virtually. So we've done all this, we've got to the certificates. What do you think is the most important part about completing a level or even an entire path? To celebrate the member's success. Okay, maybe it's not the most important part because there is some education that could be critical for that member, but certainly it's the most fun thing.
Who is responsible for putting the roles online for members?
The member. The member goes into their own, that handout that I gave you, it shows the member how to go in and enter the dates that they performed each of those particular roles. And they just keep it current. Every week, if they do it, they enter a new date for whatever role it is that they've completed. All right, let's go ahead and move through. We're now going to move to the broader look at member progress, because if you remember the legacy program, some VPEs used to keep charts showing member progress through manual speeches. It was sort of a visual cue to help everyone see where members were, what in their educational journey. This is a pretty arduous task. I've already given you a lot of screens to look through, but if you had to go into every member's transcript to find out where the heck they were, it could be a really overwhelming and time-consuming task. But luckily for you, we have another alternative. We're going to go back to our Basecamp Manager home page, and this time we're going to select Member Progress. These are management reports that provide a wealth of information on a variety of pathways measures. The report subjects are all listed to the left of the page and include things like individual progress. If you want to find out where all the individuals are in your club, you select that report. The level completion, what levels have been completed. Path progress. Path type, are some people imprinted or are they all digital? Recently selected paths, who started new ones? And also external training. These are all different sub-reports. Selecting any one of the measures will provide a summary table or a graph, as well as individual detail. I want you to take notice of the small, in fact, I like to call this very small, almost microscopic options tab at the top right. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So please note the small print under the title page. Now, I happen to be a scanner, so I had to really learn this the hard way. I would go all over this page trying to figure out what was going on, but if you just read those little tiny print under the title, it gives you the directions of what to do, and exactly what I'm going to tell you now. The first thing you should do is to select that previously mentioned Options tab. This will allow you to refresh or print the page. Notice the date at the bottom left of the page. This shows the last time this page was updated. Look, my report says this information is from 2018. Goodness gracious, we want to have something more current than that. It's very important to follow these directions and use that Options tab to refresh the page every time you go to it. Look at that date because you want to make sure you have the most current information. Once the page is refreshed, the date will change. This table that we're looking at provides information regarding how many of your members are on which paths. In this example, you can see that there are 4 members who have finished level 1, and 1 who is in effective coaching is working. There are 2 members in effective coaching and 1 member in each of these other levels. So you can tell who's working in which levels. You have to use your mouse to hover over the very tiny box, and this is in the directives at the top right, and while your mouse hovers, a little drop-down arrow is going to appear, followed by a menu giving you options to view, detail, export to Excel, so you could actually make a printed report or refresh. I want you to select View Details, and when you do, you're going to have to scroll down the page. You will find detailed information at the bottom of the page under the graph, displaying which member has completed what project and the specifically named paths that they are working in. You can also see the last date the individual transcript was changed. This can provide excellent information about the speed of the member's progress. Are they moving along? Do they need encouragement? Have you been stopped in their tracks and they need someone to follow up with what's going on? This is really useful. Once you get used to it, you can find out a lot of global information from these reports. So now each of the data reports provide a different look at pathways information. In this particular one I'm showing on the screen, it shows path progress, which provides information on what paths have just been registered but not started, which are in progress and which are completed. Again, make sure you refresh so you have current information, and you can use the detail drop down to scroll down the page at the bottom and find out which members specifically are in each of these areas. All right, finally, Pathways provides members an opportunity to get credit for speech or project performed outside of the Toastmasters environment. This enables members to apply their Toastmaster skills to their work environment, other non-Toastmaster clubs or interest groups. In order to get credit, though, they are supposed to submit a request for approval of external training. So to submit the request, members, I'm going to give you the way they do it so you can kind of help explain it. Members can access the form for their personal transcript page by selecting that Paths and Learning tab in Basecamp. So when they go to Basecamp, if they go up to the top and they select that tab, at the top right of the page is a square with 3 little dots. You're going to click on those dots and a drop-down menu will appear, and that menu gives you the option to add external training. Remember, just selects that and they get this form. This is the form they will need to fill out. It gives all of the information that you will need. They will submit it, and guess what? Basecamp managers, you're going to get an email that says someone has requested permission or approval for an outside training request. You're going to go to Basecamp Manager and you're going to select that Pending Request tab again. This time, though, you're going to see that it's a training pending approval. You will go ahead and see all the pertinent information on the bottom, the name of the person, the path, and so forth, and you can approve or not approve the green arrow check or the red X.
Nice.
Will receive notification that he or she can proceed with that training opportunity. And again, you can go in and check the details of that request to see if what they're going to do is going to meet the needs of that project. Also want you to notice that in the report page that there is an external training report you can pull up and access this information in that way as well. It won't ask you for pending approval, but it'll tell you who has asked for that or who has done external training. So as a third and final document, the General Reference Guide for Basecamp Managers. Now this is a pretty hefty little description, but it gives you a step-by-step guide covering much of what the information we've covered today. It's in little modules and bite-sized pieces. You can use it as a reference. I suggest you keep it handy when you have a question, you want to know how to do something. You don't have to always log into TI to find the answers. And feel free to contact me with questions or if your club needs a tutorial session, because as the Pathways chair, I plan to try to visit as many clubs as possible over the next few weeks to identify what major areas in which club I can help. So help me out by asking your club members or your officers, what kinds of things, support do you think you need? And you can email me that information as well. I would also love to attend your club meeting and perhaps give a brief presentation if you like.